When I hear Coretta and when I hear Dinishwar, I can't tell people I come from Demerara no more. I have to tell them I've been to school at Auckland Church in Scotland School. And I live with them. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, quarantine. All of you are quarantined tonight. Tonight, Rose Hall celebrating its 50th anniversary of being a town. Guyana celebrating its 50th anniversary of being a republic. We are celebrating the start of a decade of development. And on the 3rd of March, we'll be celebrating a victory in Region 5, in Region 7, 8, 9, 10, all over Guyana. I have visited this region 10 times in 10 months. But my brothers and sisters, politics is about winning power. And as Coretta has said, as Dinishwar have said, unless we win power, we can't change Region 5. And we have to take a sober look at what's happening in this country, what's happening in this region, if we are to change things for the better for our children over the next 10 years. We cannot have a government that is being resisted at all levels by the opposition. We cannot have an RDC that is resisting the central government. We cannot have an RDC that is not supporting our villages. And this is what has been happening in Region 6. We've got an RDC which is fighting against central government, which is delaying development. I can tell you that. People don't turn up to meetings when the Minister of Community calls them. We only have one government in this country, and that is the government of the AP and UAFC coalition. We cannot have an RDC which is only looking after red villages and is not looking after green villages. We cannot have an RDC which does not bring development to all of the people of this region. I am president of all Guyana. I cannot discriminate. And the RDC must be the RDC for the whole region, not bits and pieces. The PPP in charge of Region 6 is not providing leadership to the people of this region. The PPP in charge of the RDC of Region 6 is not building partnerships with the other people of this region. The PPP in charge of the Regional Democratic Council of Region 6 is not providing stewardship to the communities of this region. We have to change that, and we will change it on the 2nd of March. My brothers and sisters, we have a big problem in Region 6, and the problem is the PPP. People are running away from this region, even though there is a PPP RDC and the PPP controls the majority of NDCs. In 1991, under the PNC government, this region had 142,000 people. Yes, they voted PPP in the majority, but under the PNC, this region had 142,000 people. By 2001, 123,000 people under the PPP. People are running away from Region 6 under the PPP. By 2012, this region was down to 109,000 people under the PPP. Why are they running away if this PPP is so good for Region 6? They're running away because the RDC is not running Region 6 properly. And we have to change that. The PPP controls the RDC, they control the NDC. But so what? The region is not being developed as it should be. And they're winning elections too. But Dineshwar was right. Must listen to the young man. Dineshwar was right. Because under the Jagons, PPP won 52,000 votes as late as 1997 under Janet Jagan. And then she handed over the presidency to you know who? In 2001, from 52,000, the PPP got 47,000. In 2006, from 47,000, they got 42,000 votes. In 2011, under the same man, they got 32,000 votes. You all see what's happening? You see what is happening to the PPP in Region 6? They thought this was a stronghold. They put a stranglehold on Region 6. But we are going to break that stranglehold on the 2nd of March 2020. Under Marajagyo, the PPP score in Region 6 has been falling. And it's going to fall further next month. Watch me. It's going to fall because the PPP is unwilling to run this region fairly. It is unable to run this region fairly. And it cannot perform the task of developing this great and powerful region. This should be one of the leading regions in Guyana. This region is bigger than Belgium, the European country of Belgium. Region 6 is bigger than Belgium. Region 6 could produce more rice, more sugar, more fruit and vegetables, more fish. But it is because of bad leadership that there are poor people in this region. Region 6 has the potential to provide food for the whole of Guyana. It can provide a better life for all of you, for all of us. But because of poor leadership, people in this region are suffering. The PPP is part of the past. It believes in confrontation. APNU believes in cooperation. The PPP believes in winner takes all. The APNU-FC believes in collaboration and coalition. My brothers and sisters, the APNU coalition is what is bringing about change, even in the face of confrontation by the regional administration. The APNU-AFC covers the whole country. We do not discriminate between red villages and green villages and yellow villages. We ensure that all of the people in this region, in this country, receive the benefits of development. We build consensus. We build institutions where everybody could share. And it is in this coalition, Region 6 will find salvation in our decade of development that we launched on the 1st of January this year. First of all, as Coretta said, we are a caring administration. And we will extend care to the disadvantaged and poor people in Region 6. There are 25 squatter settlements in Region 6. The biggest and the worst, perhaps, is Mount Zion. The biggest and worst. But there are others. And we have to give those children, those households, those wives, a roof over their heads and put them in better conditions so they can live a life of dignity. And we care about the squatters. We care about the homeless and destitute. And that is why, as I announced at Leonora and elsewhere, we are going to abolish squatting by making sure that we set up a state commission to examine all of the 150 squatter settlements in Guyana and provide proper housing for our people during this decade of development. We cannot build a nation of dignified people, of educated children, if they're living in poor conditions. It has already started. The Ministry of Communities has already started a program for regularization of squatter settlements. And East Berbice Quarantine Region 6 is going to see those squatter settlements disappear and our children will grow up in decent homes, in decent communities. That's why I changed the name from the Ministry of Local Government to the Ministry of Communities, so that people could understand what it is to grow up in a community with playgrounds and churches and schools. This Mount Sinai will become a place of decent habitation. I know some of you are worried about what happened in the sugar industry. But let me make it clear that I personally went into Albion, I went into the factory. I know the pain that sugar workers feel. But the sugar industry that the PPP handed us could not be sustained. If you come from Demerara, you can pass along Diamond. If the PPP shut down Diamond, the PPP sent home over 5,000 sugar workers during their period in office. The sugar industry was in difficulties. Even when we were in opposition, APNU and AFC were helping to bail out the sugar industry. But unfortunately, that blue monument you have in Skeldon cannot be bailed out. It's scrap. Find out who buy it and chase him out. What we have done is try to save the sugar industry in East Berbice Quarantine. And the East Berbice Quarantine sugar industry based on Albion will be preserved and protected by the APNU AFC administration. But at the same time, we will ensure that those workers who have not yet been re-employed, because many of them have gotten jobs back in Albion. Some of them from East Country are working at Albion. I've been there and I know. But what we will do is set up a state lands commission, and Cabinet has already approved to set up a state lands commission. And some of the lands which cannot be productively used for sugar industry will be leased out to workers who want to become farmers and to continue to have a good life in this region. So my brothers and sisters, the APNU AFC coalition is going to protect the livelihoods of the people now living in squatter settlements, and they'll protect the livelihoods of the workers who are no longer working in the sugar industry. to make sure they can get gainful employment by working for themselves or working for other people on those abandoned sugarcane lands. This is what we're doing to help workers and households in East Berbice quarantine. But there is more. Those farmers who require assistance, those persons who come out of the sugar industry and want to start up in farming or even in other rural communities, we have extended the regional agricultural program. It's called the RAID. This region alone has 205 villages. This is not a region of Rose Hall town alone and New Amsterdam alone and Curriverton alone. You all got more towns than any other region, but you also have 205 villages. And we are going to protect the livelihoods of farmers in all of those villages. You hear what Coretta said? Not higgly-piggly, not help this village because it's a red village and don't help the other village because it's a green village. We'll help everybody under the RAID, the Regional Agricultural Infrastructure Development Program. We will help farmers with their tools and equipment. We'll help farmers with drainage and irrigation. And we will ensure that Region 6 is rebuilt as an agricultural powerhouse, not for a few rich people, but for all of the residents of this region. And people will stop running away from this region. When you have an you've heard already that we put a boat in the Berbice River, we put a boat in the Kanji River. We have 5 buses are running down the roads of the quarantine, from East Bank Berbice to East Kanji to Central Quarantine. You have more David G buses than any other region. Since we got into power, we have put nearly 5,000 bicycles on the roads of this country, and Berbice got their share. You have your share of buses, of boats and bicycles to get children to school. And we will continue so that no child will ever have to pay to go to school to get their learning. And when we start to get revenue from the petroleum industry, not now, not this year, but when the revenue starts to flow, we are going to provide cash grants to families who can provide evidence that their children are in school. The profits are not going to go into the pockets of a few rich men and women. They are going to go into the homes of poor people, needy people, to get their children to school. By the end of the next decade, Guyana will be an educated nation because all of our children will have had access to universal primary education, universal secondary education. And those who are willing and able will be able to get tertiary education. And Region 6 is the only region outside of Demerara with a university campus. I know they got a fake university in West Demerara. The University of Iceland and the University of Fishing. I don't know what they call it. But we will send your children to a real university. They get real degrees. So, my brothers and sisters, the future is bright for Region 6. When I spoke at New Amsterdam, when I spoke at New Amsterdam a few days ago, I told them that there was a plan of action. From the time we got into office, we developed a plan of action for regional development. Every region has a plan of action. But some of the regions are resisting it because somebody in Freedom House told them don't accept the plan because they can make the APNU and the AFC look good. But when they do not implement the plan of action, you all are suffering here in Region 6. After March the 2nd, we are going to implement the plan of action of regional development in Region 6. It will strengthen infrastructure, it will strengthen commerce, it will strengthen industrial development, it will strengthen agricultural production. My brothers and sisters, politics is not about magic. Politics is about mathematics. We have to win a majority of votes, a majority of seats, not only at the national level, but also at the regional level. But luckily in Guyana, we have a constitution that guarantees GRE, general and regional elections. So on the 2nd of March, you not only re-elect David Granger as president and the APNU AFC to go into government, but you also have to elect an RDC in Region 6, which can propel development for you. We have to get an APNU AFC Regional Democratic Council. And we can do it because in 2015, the PPP won 39,000 votes in this region. The APNU only won 22,000 votes. There's a gap. There's a gap, a gulf between PPP and APNU AFC. There's a gap of nearly 18,000 votes. We have to close that gap on the 2nd of March. And we will close that gap because in 2015, about 28,000 people who were registered to vote did not vote in Region 6. I don't know where they're there, but I want you to go and find them. All I want is to close the gap and win Region 6. We have to get about 20,000 more votes to make sure that PPP doesn't control the RDC again. My brothers and sisters, you don't get a prize for being a runner-up in Region 6. You have to win. You have to win an absolute majority. Since the dragons have disappeared, the PPP has been in a losing streak in Region 6. The PPP is beatable. And an APNU AFC victory is achievable. Do you believe that? We have to break the PPP stranglehold on Region 6. This is no longer a PPP stronghold. Everywhere in this country, where the PPP controls the RDC, they are on a losing streak. They are losing. We are building prosperous towns. We are building populous towns. But everywhere the PPP is in charge, they are losing. It is time, as Coretta says, to bring power back to the people of Region 6. My brothers and sisters, the PPP is the weakest some of you have ever seen. The APNU is getting stronger with each rally in every region. The APNU is This is a winnable election. But we have to strategize, we have to mobilize, we have to organize ourselves. Ask yourself, can you win this region? Will you win this region? Then let us go on the 2nd of March and win Region 6 for the good people of the East of East County. Can you do it? Can you do it? So let's go there, good. Let's show them that APNU AFC can run Region 6 and make it prosperous for your children, for generations to come. May God bless you all. Thank you.